Hello everyone. Today I got 3 absolutely fantastic horror books for you guys to read. These are books that will tickle your dark side. That kind of looks too sexual. I'll quit doing that. My apologies. But these ones are dark and they are terrifying and brutal at times. And these are ones you'll absolutely want to read. But before we get started, I want to remind you that I have horror books for sale as well. And you can find the ones you see on your screen along with others. And there's a link in the description for you to do that. And if you want to join my Patreon, you will get all my horror books for free, all my future horror books for free. You'll also get free short horror stories every month and books from other authors. Within the next couple days, I'm going to post my Patreon, for my Patreon members, 5 more absolutely free horror books that you can pick up for your Kindle. Won't cost you a dime. So if you want to get in on that, I'll leave a link down below. All right, let's get started. So the first book we're going to be talking about today is called The Remaking. This is from Clay McLeod Chapman. I'm doing this because he's one of those authors. I've read a lot of his books. He's never disappointed me. And when I find an author like that, I like to go through their back catalog, see what other gems might be hidden there from earlier. He has a new book coming out now. It's out right now, called Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. Just released a couple days ago at the time I'm making this video. You definitely want to pick that one up, but I haven't read it yet, so I can't talk about it yet on this channel. But in honor of that, I went back and found this little gem that maybe you guys haven't read or haven't heard about. It's called The Remaking. If you like cursed films, if you like witches, if you like little ghost girls that are extremely creepy and terrifying, if you like any of those things, or like me, all 3 of those things, this is going to be the book for you. Because it's basically about this little girl, our protagonist, and when she was little, her mother kind of brought her up to trying to be an actress. She was one of those stage moms, you know, kind of harsh, kind of blunt, always pushing her daughter towards success and you know, to live vicariously through her daughter. And she lands a role in a very low-budget horror film, which is based on a true story about a mother and daughter witch from way back in the day in this small little town that were burned at the stake, and the little girl is now buried in their local cemetery, and this director wants to make a horror movie based on that. She lands the role as she is going to play this little girl, but the director wants it to be as authentic as possible. He's kind of obsessed with this story, and so he's going to film it in that town at the actual cemetery by the actual grave where this little witch girl is buried. And rumor has it, this town has nothing. It's a very decrepit town, way out of the way. Nobody knows about it. It's falling apart. But its one claim to fame is that people will come there occasionally, tourists, to seek out and look at the grave of this little girl, because she was buried under very mysterious circumstances. It wasn't a typical burial, and you'll read about that. So they're filming this movie there, but something horrific is going to happen, and even though the movie gets finished and it is eventually released, it is going to affect our protagonist, a then 9-year-old girl. Is going to affect her for the rest of her life, and I don't want to give too much away about that. But the movie does come out, and everybody kind of agrees it's kind of a piece of trash movie. It's like a B movie, basically, that should have been forgotten a long time ago, but because of the rumors surrounding the circumstances that happened during the filming, it's got a fairly large cult following. And so now 20 years later, our protagonist is kind of living the role as this girl Jessica, and she goes to horror conventions and signs autographs and takes selfies with fans to make a living, but she has never had another role since. And this movie's kind of taken on a life of its own because of those rumors. And she suffers from depression and anxiety. She has panic attacks. And she just wants to be left alone, but she has to make money to live. She finds out that they're going to remake this movie. And the new director is a young guy, a young kid fresh out of film school, kind of a wonderkind of Hollywood. And he's going to remake it because he is just as obsessed with this story as the director in the first film was. And she gets talked into playing the role of the mother this time, of the little witch girl. But again, tragedy is going to strike that set of this remaking, and it's going to leave its scars on people. This movie never got released. It was shut down. Production was shut down because of what happened on set. Little clips, a few seconds long, show up online, get leaked online, but that's about it. And now our protagonist is living as a recluse in a trailer park, not giving interviews. She refuses to talk about the circumstances about what happened. And it's a twisty-turny story what happened to her on the set of this remaking. And again, you'll have to read about it. I don't want to give too much away. But a podcaster who thinks this interview is going to be his claim to fame tracks her down and demands to know what really happened. Like, he's not buying the official story, and he believes there's something more to it. And I'm just going to say this is going to leave its mark on everybody once she agrees to show him what, and tell him and show him exactly what happened. And it is horrifying. Yeah, this one is fantastic. It's got the curse film thing. It's got the little dead witch girl ghost, you know. And of course, it's got the tragedy of the mother and daughter burning together as witches way back in the day. It's got all that. And it's also got a lot more, because it's about our protagonist, and it's about show business, life as a child star, all the demands that fans, you know, film culture, sometimes toxic, that fans can put on these icons, or who they consider icons of films. And it covers a broad range of subjects in the subtext there. But first and foremost, it's just a terrifying horror story, and that's what we all love. And yes, I loved it, and I highly recommend it. And there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy in the description. And next we have Haven. This one is great. This is about life in a small town, and a bunch of kids, like a lot of kids, started coming up missing in this small town, and some of them are found horrifically murdered. There's a man who when he was a child had an accident, and he is extremely disfigured from a fire, and he looks. A lot of people will look at him and think, oh, he's a monster, because his face is all scarred and burned and disproportioned. But he's actually a very nice guy. But he gets blamed for these disappearances of these children. He gets sent to prison. 17 years later, with the help of a local priest who knows he's innocent, he finally gets out of prison, and he kind of wants to go back to his hometown. He wants to live in that same town, knowing he's going to be hated, knowing that some people is never going to buy his innocence because he was convicted. But he's going to go back there. Oddly enough, as soon as he gets back, the cycle seems to be repeating itself. Children again start disappearing. In the meantime, you got the sheriff of this town, who is an alcoholic and who has his sights firmly set on this man. He believes that this man, our protagonist, is absolutely guilty, despite being no evidence, and despite having sometimes evidence to the contrary. He believes he's guilty, and he's focusing all his attention on this man. But everybody is trying to tell him that there's a literal monster that is responsible for that. Eyewitness accounts and things. But whenever they mention the word monster, the sheriff thinks they're talking about this guy, because this guy kind of looks like a monster because of his disfigurements. And so the police are absolutely no help as they focus on him. But then bodies start piling up again. People start going missing again. And with this man and the help of this priest, and even a little bit of a coming of age story there with 3 teenage friends who kind of knows this man is innocent. Yeah, they're going to find out the truth. They want to find out the truth, and the things they uncover are absolutely terrifying. And this also concerns a secret government research project that went awry. So it's got that element in there, and I'm not going to tell you what, but you have to read about it because that's absolutely fantastic. So you got a little bit of coming of age, you got small town horror, you got the bigoted sheriff of the town, you got these 3 kids who are in grave danger but still want to help this man because they know he's innocent. And you got lines drawn. Some people believe he's innocent, some people will never believe it. And so there's all that tension amidst all the horrors that are going on in this town. And this one's absolutely epic. It's fantastic. And you'll have to see how it turns out, but I absolutely loved it. And of course, I highly recommend it. And there is a link down below where you can pick up your copy today in the description. And next we have Bloodstains by Gaslight. This one's not coming out until March, but I will leave a pre-order link down below, of course. And you absolutely want to pre-order this one because this takes the subject of domestic abuse and manipulation and control and gaslighting, narcissism, and puts it in the confines of this horrific vampire story. And this is about a teenage girl. She has a boyfriend. He was all nice and sweet when they met, but slowly over time he started changing, became controlling, started manipulating her. Wouldn't leave her alone when she wanted to be alone with her friends, always accusing her of things, gaslighting her. Anytime he did something horrible to her, he blamed her, of course, because that's the way these people operate. And it portrays a very realistic scenario of what somebody going through that actually goes through. And it's pretty horrifying in itself. But now imagine that scenario, except now the person that is obsessed with you, that refuses to let you go, that has the attitude of, if I can't have you, nobody will. Something happens to them. He gets attacked one night and he actually turns into a vampire. So now he has these same feelings and attitude toward this girl, this teenage girl, but now he has all these powers. He can kill with immunity because who's going to confront him? Who's going to come up against him? So all the help she thought she would have trying to get it through his head that they are done, they are over, because she broke up with him and he refused to accept it even before he became a vampire. But now he's got these powers and he refuses to let her go, and he is going to put her through a living hell. Anybody else she tries to get involved with, anybody that tries to separate them, or anybody that tries to protect her from him, he can just kill and drink them dry, basically. So her life becomes a living hell, and she is put through the ringer in this book, even before he became a vampire. And it becomes obvious that they're going to have to go through some extreme measures if they want, if these people want to survive, because he is relentless and is not going to let go. So she takes that domestic abuse issue and just elevates it to 11 with the horrors of him also being a vampire. And I absolutely love that. This was a fantastic book. Absolutely bone-chilling, absolutely terrifying, and I highly recommend it. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. I really appreciate you guys for watching. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.